What's up, weirdos? What's going on, guys? How the heck are you today? All right, let's get this party started. Not feeling that great today, guys. Not feeling that great today. Kind of sluggish. Can't really seem to get into the zone. But we'll see what happens, right? We will see how it goes. Let's get it going here, guys. Let's get it going. What do we have? We got zero super chats to start the stream. All right, let's get into the chat here, see what's going on. Okay, another local. What's up, man? Hey, Robin, familia. Enjoy this DC opportunity all around. There you go. Paul, nice to see you, my friend. Nice to see you. Callie, good morning. It's a good day to DCA your future. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a good day to have a good day, guys. Remember that. Oh, House. Went to go and sell one of my 100-ounce silver bars. I couldn't do it, and instead bought more Morgans and Peace dollars. There you go. I have to find another way to buy more dry powder. Hey, a little bit of overtime. A little bit of overtime, brother. Hey, Rob, you still believe Swift will explode and melt faces this alt season? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Strawberry Dragon, what's going on? Andy shared the stream over on X. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Williams in the house. What's going on, man? Dave, what's up, man? Beautiful day, brother. Beautiful day. Absolutely. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe on the way in. I have a feeling this is going to be a very, very quiet stream. There's only 113 people here. We have 33 likes. Let's try to get 100 likes at least, guys. Let's try to get 100 likes at least. There she is, Gamma Goddess in the house. She says, "Happy Saturday, Robin fam. Hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. Let's get this money." Young Eldor, Toshi to the moon. Let's get it. It's a me, Yamario. Happy Sabbath, y'all. How them Cowboys shoot is better to stress over crypto. At least crypto will eventually make us some money. Absolutely. Jake the Snake. I believe Zebek will correct this week and PAMP mid-September. What is your big brain thoughts on this? Yeah, I've expressed it multiple times. I think that I wouldn't be shocked to see the market kind of have a bit of a, a lot of people are calling for a red September and a red October, and it would be par for the course. That's why they call it Rectember and Rectober, right? Definitely voted Toshi. There you go. JD Beats. In Rob we trust. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. I'm not anticipating a lot of super chats in this live stream because there's not very many people here, and I'm not really at my best right now. I'm feeling really, really groggy, really out of it. So Jake the Snake, did someone say quiet? Let's go. Danny, I'm here. You on the TV while I get stuff done. There, I'm on the TV, guy. I'm on TV, y'all. I'm on TV. All right, perfect. And just like that, we're all caught up in the chat. Oh, Strawberry Dragon dropping some cheddar, sitting on my hands, waiting for the party to start. Can't wait to quit my job. Absolutely. Amen to that. Amen to that. See stories. What's going on? Dave, rest up, brother. Hold that silver. Yes. Absolutely. Hold that silver is right. House, do you think the crypto market is prepping for a rate cut in September? Maybe. I don't think the market is pricing in a rate cut right now because we would be pumping otherwise, and we're not really pumping. We're just kind of recovering from yesterday. I know it feels like we're pumping because everything's turning green, but we're really just kind of rebalancing and recovering from yesterday's drop. So basically, we're going back to the prices we were at the day before yesterday, right? Which is fine. But I wouldn't necessarily say the market is pumping right now. So I'm going to be doing some buying. Jake the Snake, just like hearing you say Zebek to $1. Zebek to $1, absolutely. That would be insane, man. That would be insane. We'd all be multi-freaking millionaires. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? All right, let's get to it here, guys. We're caught up in the chat, so let's get to the news. Since I'm not really feeling that great today, let's let's just dive in and get going here. Quick shout out to the channel sponsor, as always, guys, Decent Biometric Wallet. Use our link down below. Get a 2-for-1 deal on the biometric wallet today. Keep your crypto safe, guys. Keep it off exchanges. You can swap, take profits, and even stake your crypto right on your Decent wallet. A little mosquito tried to fly by. Tried to do a flyby on me. All right, little clip here. Actually, let's get into a story first. Now, this is very important for all of you, all you Americans out there in America, all you Americans. CFTC outlines new framework for U.S. crypto traders. The CFTC has unveiled a new advisory allowing U.S. traders to trade on offshore exchanges, providing regulatory clarity and expanding market access. This is huge for you guys in the States. This initiative marks a significant shift, welcoming American traders back to regulated markets and potentially enhancing liquidity and security across global crypto exchanges. The CFTC has unveiled a new framework through a Foreign Board of Trade advisory. This initiative provides regulatory clarity for U.S. residents to engage in offshore crypto trading activities. Key figures in this development include Acting Chair Caroline Pham, emphasizing the move as part of a strategy to legalize onshore trading. Regulatory clarity is now offered, affecting assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum on foreign exchanges. Immediate impacts involve restored access to global crypto markets for U.S. traders. This framework aims to counteract past regulatory constraints that led many to relocate overseas. So essentially what they're saying is Gary Gensler caused a whole lot of people who made a lot of money in crypto to leave the United States and bring their money to other economies. Thank you, Gary Gensler. The FBOT advisory advisory signifies a shift towards increased market accessibility for U.S. traders, facilitating safer trading under CFTC oversight. Improved regulatory mechanisms may drive liquidity growth domestically. U.S. entities previously offering offshore may return to domestic markets. This framework enhances regulatory compliance. So basically, most places in the States, depending on the state you live in, obviously, you are now going to start being granted access to your KuCoins and your BitTrues and all of the other exchanges that you have not been allowed to use, and you have been forced to use crappy exchanges like Coinbase. Now you can use a lot of these exchanges that are compliant, right? Which also, quick shout out to BTCC, who we have partnered up with. They're one of our partners, so you can use our link to use BTCC in the States. So this is massive news for American investors, guys. Massive news. ZBEC to $5. Could you imagine? We'd have billionaires here at that point, man. That would be so crazy. I know they're in there. You ain't bullish enough. ZBEC's going to carry the boats and the logs. Let's go. Fleming, hey Rob, I'm a Patreon member. Unfortunately, I'm on Denmark time. When you do our live calls, do you mind give me your TA on Velo, the Asian XRP, and when do you see it go? Where do you see it going this run? That's a tall order, man. You want me to do TA on it, and you want a price prediction on it for the bull run? Should we just do a one-on-one live stream? I'm just messing with you, man. Velo. Let's have a look at Velo. Chart. Ooh, that's an ugly chart. Let's go to the daily. Pow. All right, so this thing's just been kind of going sideways for a long time. Yeah. This was the peak back in December, January, and had a nice run up. What do you got going on right now? You're putting in higher highs and higher lows right now. Where's my tools? I'm on trading view. So you're putting in these higher highs and higher lows, which is good, You're coming to an inflection point. Seems like you're putting in a symmetrical triangle here of sorts. Is this a wick? No, it's not a wick. Okay, perfect. Yeah. You seem to be at an inflection point here, my friend, on Velo. It's getting pretty tight in the symmetrical triangle. You got about a 60% chance of a break to the upside for Velo out of this triangle here. About a 60% chance. Where you're gonna go? I mean, listen, you've got. Where's your previous levels of resistance? This is a tiny chart. I can't tell what's a wick and what's not. You probably got a little bit of significant resistance right about there. I can see a breakout around 2 cents 9.3, something like that. It'll move to the upside, probably meet some resistance, as it was a significant level in the past. Resistance here, support all in here, resistance. Yeah, you wicked up to it here as well. Yeah, look at significant level. It's probably where you're going to meet resistance right about there, man. You're going to get a breakout. You're going to have resistance about 2 cents 9.347 area, roughly. What do we got here? We got some super chats. Zebek, Moon, yeah, better. Big Kev, you are your worst. Still, you at your worst still outshine most at their best. Lead us to a better tomorrow. Thank you so much, Big Kev. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I wasn't even expecting that many super chats today, to be honest with you guys. I am just out of it. I'm out of it. When do you think XCM will start pumping? As soon as everything else does, Rod. As soon as everything else does, my friend. We're in a heavy market manipulation zone right now. Guys, you're going to have to be a little bit patient till the manipulation comes to an end. Jake the Snake, probably when you least expect it, yeah. Sometimes the future is when XCM will, sometime in the future is when XCM will run. Billionaires, dang, I wanted to be a trillionaire. Yeah, soon enough, man, soon enough. You got to crawl before you can walk. We've bottomed when Roberto is a little cranky. Yeah, I'm not cranky. I'm just tired. I'm groggy. I'm more groggy. Cookie Dough, I saw B3 on the poll. My second baby is not forgotten. Absolutely. We got to give a little bit of love to B3. Come on now. Blazing Bandit, the world's biggest bull run ever seen, is unfolding right before your eyes. 100%, man. People will look back and say they were there. H. Barbarina in the house. What's going on? Colton, how are we feeling about correction in M2 and crypto for September, October? I already addressed that at the beginning of the stream. Thank you, Rob. Yes, one-on-one is on my agenda. Absolutely, brother. Move to America. Absolutely. 100%. All right, let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep the news rolling along here. So, very bullish news for the U.S. Indeed. Let's get into our next piece here. SoulCube, you can't go wrong with buying Bitcoin. 100% agree with that. Bitcoin faces critical August monthly close. As August draws to a close, all eyes are on Bitcoin's price action. After a turbulent few weeks, the market is watching closely to see if Bitcoin can end the month on a strong note, or whether a deeper correction is about to unfold. The spotlight is firmly on the $114,000 level. If Bitcoin can't close the week above this key resistance, history suggests a further drop may be in the cards. The crypto has already logged 2 consecutive red weeks. A third would significantly raise the chances of more downside support. More downside movement. Currently, Bitcoin bulls are attempting to hold the line at 108,000 a crucial level that could demonstrate shorter-term sentiment. A weekly close below $114,000 not only signals continued weakness, but also opens the door to a more significant correction. The next immediate support is around 104,000, which aligns with the 200-day exponential moving average, a level often seen as a long-term trend indicator. If that doesn't hold, the market might test $98,000, the price zone with historical buying interest. However, not all hope is lost. The price doesn't necessarily have to tumble all the way down. If bulls manage to reclaim momentum quickly, we could see a bounce before reaching the lower levels. The monthly closes carry weight in the crypto market, especially for institutional traders who rely on higher time frame signals. A weak monthly close adds pressure on buyers and fuels bearish narratives, while a strong close often brings renewed confidence and inflows. So let's go have a look at Bitcoin's monthly chart. Quentin, I see you, buddy. What's going on, man? Let's go have a look at Bitcoin's monthly charts. Okay, so we're on the daily. Let's pop down to the monthly. So, yeah, look at that. Look at that red. All the way at the beginning of the month, we're all the way up at $124,500. And we have collapsed all the way down to $108,600. So essentially, we need to get back above $114,000 and close the monthly there, right? I'm going to be honest with you, man. I really don't see that. The only thing that can save this monthly close, in my opinion, which happens tomorrow, in my opinion, I'll show you. The only thing that's going to save it, the only possibility we have, is right here. The shorts. What do we have? We see a lot of longs piling up. So this is a little concerning. Almost $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion. If we drop down to $104,000 support, it will liquidate $1.66 billion worth of longs. Okay? But let's go to the monthly. This is what I'm talking about. This is our saving grace. This is our one shot, right? For not further downside, in my opinion. So if Bitcoin can get a short squeeze to take place and move up to $114,000, to close above $114,000, almost $6 billion worth of shorts will get liquidated. So we could see a short squeeze take place to propel us back up over $114,000, but it would need to happen within the next 30 hours, something like that. So that would be our saving grace, in my opinion. Anything short of a massive short squeeze, and we're closing this month red, we're closing it below 114, and we're dropping a little bit lower just to open the month of September. So that's what you can expect, in my opinion, going into September. So yeah, but I know what I'll be doing the whole time. I will be buying, right? I will be buying. Right, we got this clip here, little bullish clip on Algorand. You guys know Algorand is one of my favorite layer ones. Check this out, guys. Algorand is cooking.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Hi. Can you introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm Mark Vanderberg, and I'm Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer at the Algorand Foundation.
There are so many different blockchains. What makes Algorand stand out?
Well, I think there's really two key things. One is Algorand has these like OG values baked into it. Like we still believe in decentralization. We are kind of a people's chain. Anybody can stake. Second thing is if you participate in Algorand and you participate in our DeFi protocol, you'll basically see how easy everything is and how great everything works. So we like to talk about this finality and speed, but you really see this in practice when you go swap on Algorand or when you lend or you borrow. You'll see how seamless the entire experience is. Transactions get completed instantly.
Yeah.
You never have to wait. There's no failures. The costs are very low. So it's a very fluid user experience.
How does Algorand adapt its strategy to onboard more users into Algorand and blockchain?
So I think there's two things. One is community is everything for us, right? Like making sure that our community is thriving, that there's positive sentiment, that if we have new people joining, that they are welcomed by the community.
Yeah.
And that's one element. So community is really important.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is we are actually quite excited that we're going to launch a new, very big campaign that we call Algorand.
Oh, okay.
And Algorand is
Algorand.
opening in September. And it's kind of a new world for people to explore everything that you can do on Algorand. And so there's going to be like 13 weeks of like challenges with weekly prizes. It's going to be super, super exciting. People can actually, explore everything that Algorand has to offer. And so we're very excited about that.
The Algorand roadmap has just been released. Which milestone are you most excited about, and why should the community be paying attention?
So the thing I'm mostly excited about is the focus on mainstream adoption.
Yeah.
Because I think crypto is still very much kind of an isolated world. And so there's a much bigger world out there. We want to basically onboard 1 billion users. And I think in order to do so, we have to make sure we remove all the friction. And I think we have to move past that. And so what I'm excited about the roadmap is that we have this idea of building a completely new wallet, completely from the ground up, that has been really rethought for a Web2 audience in mind, but still consistent with pure Web3 principles and philosophies of self-custody and everything like that. I think we can onboard a lot of users with that.
Mark, thank you so much for your time and everything that you're doing for Algorand, and I'm really excited for what's to come.
Thank you.
Very bullish on Algorand, guys. You know me. One of my favorite layer ones. Is the red September a myth or reality for Bitcoin and altcoins? Is a decline on the horizon? Experts weigh in. Let's talk about it. While Bitcoin has been trending sideways in the last days of August, cryptocurrency investors are preparing for the possibility of an impending decline, as they do every year during this period. This phenomenon, known in the markets as Red-tember, or the September effect, has been observed in traditional markets for nearly a century. Since 1928, the S&P 500 index has recorded an average negative return in September, making it the only consistently negative month in the index's history. The picture is even bleaker for Bitcoin. Since 2013, Bitcoin has lost an average of 3.77% of its value in September, experiencing 8 sharp declines according to Glassnode data. This phenomenon stems from structural market behavior. Many investment funds close their fiscal years in September, losing positions for tax reasons, so they're tax harvesting, and rebalancing their portfolios with the summer holidays over. Investors return to their trading desks to review their position period their positions after a period of low liquidity. Furthermore, increased bond issuance after September accelerates from the exit from stocks and risky assets. On the crypto side, these effects are even more magnified. Bitcoin, which trades 24/7, lacks circuit breakers during sell-offs, and its smaller market cap makes it vulnerable to large investor movements. September of 2025 is approaching with mixed signals. The Fed has delivered positive messages, with market pricing in the possibility of another rate cut in September 18th meeting. Meanwhile, core inflation remains resilient at 3.1%, while two active wars are disrupting global supply chains. Blah blah blah. Can't talk about that. So, guys, are we going to see Red-tember in Rectober? I personally, I think we probably will. If I'm being honest, right? And that's why I'm getting prepared to do a lot of buying. I made a video about a week and a half ago telling you guys I was switching modes into massive DCA mode, right? FedWatch predicts September increased rate cuts are likely. CME FedWatch tool projects an 86.5% likelihood of a 25 basis point rate cut by the Federal Reserve in September. Financial markets are closely monitoring potential changes affecting cryptocurrency assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, with significant implications for liquidity and investor sentiment. CME FedWatch data indicates a high probability of a 25 basis point rate cut by the Fed in September. Market participants are paying close attention, given the potential impact on risk assets like cryptocurrencies. The latest market consensus from CME FedWatch tool indicates an 86.4% probability of a 25 basis point rate cut at the Fed meeting next month. Should the Fed reduce rates, asset prices, particularly in crypto sectors, may see shifts. Ethereum inflows of 27.3 million suggest investor positioning, while Polygon's 30.5 million outflows raises questions on sentiment towards certain assets. While no official commentary from influential market leaders was made, industry speculation surrounds how Bitcoin and other digital assets might respond to such policy moves. This speculation continues as financial analysts debate potential outcomes. So here's the thing, guys. I see some people that get upset, right? Because they hope we talk like a month ago, 2 months ago, you know, we look at stuff like the M2 money supply and we talk about how, you know, the odds are, the charts are showing we're probably going to see a green September, and then now it turns out we're probably going to see a red September and a red October. There's a good chance. And then people say, you keep moving the goalposts. Guys, listen, okay? Listen. I tell you guys on a daily basis, you have to pay attention to the crypto market every single day, right? You cannot just walk away hearing that it's going to pump in September and expect to come back in September with no updates, with no nothing, and then be upset that it's not pumping because you haven't been paying attention. These crypto markets can change on a dime, and you have to get comfortable with that. You have to understand it, and if you can't handle that, maybe crypto's not for you. There are no certainties in crypto, right? There's only probabilities. And right now, we're starting to steer towards the probability of a red September and a Rectober, followed by face melting pump action after that. Some people get frustrated by that and they say, you keep moving the goalposts. I don't control the markets, guys. I don't. If I controlled the markets, we would be going parabolic right now, right? This second. I don't control the markets. I'm not moving the goalpost. The data that comes in on a daily basis shapes the future of how this market plays out. If you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you, right? So, yeah. Oh, how Caesar was talking about VeChain being Trump's next coin choice because they're affiliated with the UFC and Dana White. No. There's a connection, right? That VeChain is partnered with the UFC and Dana White is friends with Trump, but Trump's friendship with Dana White doesn't have any kind of implications on whether Trump decides to work with VeChain. That's like saying that Dana White's going to go to, I don't know what your gas stations are, the Shell gas station to get his gas now because that's where Trump goes, right? You'd be like, what? Why does Dana White, like, it doesn't work that way, right? That's like saying that Dana White's going to use and partner with other companies that Trump and other businesses is partnered with because Trump is working with them. It doesn't make sense, right? I see him connecting dots that make sense, but Dana or the UFC being partnered with VeChain has absolutely nothing to do with whether his friend, the president, will use VeChain. It's not like Dana White owns VeChain, right? So, I don't know. I see how Caesar's connecting the dots, but I don't see how it implicates that VeChain would be partnered in any way, or sorry, would be used in any way by Trump simply because they have a partnership with the UFC. Yeah, he said about Crowcoin sponsoring UFC as well. That's a link. I don't think that because they're using Crow, Crypto.com, for custody and for ETFs and stuff like that, right? They're not using Crow because they're affiliated with the UFC, right? I don't know. I think that's VeChain holders that are trying to create something, right? I mean, I could be wrong. I don't put a whole lot of weight in that, though, guys. I think that it's kind of desperation connecting those dots, right? I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Big Botto dropping that cheddar. Juicy time for DC opportunities. Don't get shaken out, fam. Touch some grass. Make some babies. Absolutely. Make those babies. And listen, guys, just to put a finer point on the whole VeChain thing, I'm not hating on VeChain. Just so you know, I hold VeChain in my portfolio and in my mother-in-law's portfolio. So I like VeChain enough to hold it, but, so I'm not funding it. I just think it's a desperate stretch. All right, let's segue over to Squawk Box. What is happening over there? Former RBI governor, don't think India gains a lot by buying Russian oil.
Minister Modi set to meet with Chinese President Xi and Russian President Putin this weekend. It's all happening in China. The U.S. has recently imposed a 50% tariff on longtime U.S. allies, now over that U.S. ally in particular, over the purchase of Russian oil. For a look at the U.S.-India relationship, I want to bring in former Reserve Bank of India Governor Raghuram Rajan. He is a professor of finance at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. And we've been talking all morning about the implications of this meeting and what you think it ultimately means to the relationship between the U.S. and India, and ultimately the relationship between India, China, and Russia.
Well, it says to some extent that India is confused. It thought it had a wonderful relationship with the United States. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi seem to get along. And then suddenly India gets slapped with both 25% tariffs on all its goods, which is above the Asian norm, plus an additional 25% for trading oil with Russia, which it thought it was doing with the agreement of the United States. So I think this is in some ways a reaction. India is not China's greatest friend. They've actually fought a border conflict during the pandemic. Modi going to Shanghai is basically saying, look, we're going to look for alternatives if you can't be reliable.
Well, that's my question. How much is this meeting a signal to President Trump and to the United States that we may actually go be friends with folks that you think of as our enemy?
Well, I don't think it's serious. It's more a signal. I don't think that in the longer run, India would prefer China to the United States. In survey after survey, you find that Indians really like the United States. But I think the Indian leadership is basically saying, make up your mind. Which way do you want to go? Because otherwise we can strengthen other alternatives.
Wolf?
Oh, Professor, I was going to ask the extent to which you think, though, that India long-term now will be a significant trading partner with Russia regardless, and the kind of increase in imports of fossil fuels will stick forever, short-term, long-term, regardless of tariffs?
I don't think India gains a lot by buying Russian oil. Actually, before the war, it was accounting for about 2% of Indian purchases. India would be happy to go back to that. The discount on Russian oil is really quite small at this point. It thought it was buying Russian oil because the US wanted somebody to take Russian oil so that oil prices globally did take a huge hike because Russia was shut out of the oil market. And in fact, what was imposed on the world was not so much you can't buy Russian oil, but you can't really buy it above $60 a barrel. And for the most part, India has stuck to that. I think if the United States, through a backdoor channel asked, please stop buying Russian oil, India would be pretty happy to do that. If you make it front and center,
surely that is what's just happened with these tariffs, is it not? I mean,
no. If you impose tariffs and you say you shall do this, it's a direct, question of India's sovereignty. You're basically saying you do this or else. I'm differentiating between a request, please do it, and it's backdoor. India would do it. India is a democracy. If India tomorrow stops the purchase of Russian oil because the United States told it to do it, the government would have to answer questions in Parliament. How come you're under the sway of the United States? So this is one of those things where a little diplomacy would have gone a long way. I don't think that's what has happened.
Well, Professor Rajan, is the prospect of diplomacy effectively dead at this point in time? Or are there any back-channel conversations happening now after those 50% tariffs went into place that could potentially reverse those?
I hope not. I hope the back-channel discussions are still underway. And I think this is a problem. Certainly, if the question is Russian oil. And by the way, China is the biggest purchaser. It hasn't been tariffed. Turkey purchases. It hasn't been tariffed. Even Europe purchases Russian energy. It hasn't been tariffed. So if this can be dealt with, and it doesn't seem like the most important issue is stopping Russia from selling energy, but if this can be resolved in the through back channels, I'm sure the temperature can come down a lot. But right now, there's enormous angst in India amongst the Indian people. What happened? We thought the United States was our friend.
Professor, I have one final question. It relates now to the tariff issue, but it relates to actually the whatever tariff gets put on China and how you think these negotiations therefore play out. I think India thought they were going to get a favored nation status kind of tariff rate, if you will, and they wanted to get a rate knowing that it would be lower than where China is. Now, China happens to be lower than them. And so in terms of just the timing of all of this, to the extent that the United States renegotiates with India at some point, do you think that they could renegotiate with India prior to reaching a deal with China? A deal with China seems like that's the linchpin, but it may be a lot farther off.
The deal with China is likely to be very complicated and involve a lot of issues, including intellectual property, etc. So that's going to take time to nail down. I think in the meantime, if India is tariffed at these levels, a lot of poor farmers, a lot of poor shrimp farmers, a lot of textile manufacturers are going to go out of business, and that has long-term lasting damage. I think a short-term deal with India would be beneficial. It would also signal that India is a possible China +1 destination. That is, manufacturers can use India as an alternative to China. If the long-term aim is to get away from strategic dependence on China, that would be the clever move for the United States. So I would say a quick deal with India, take off the 25% tariff. India agrees to slow down and in fact terminate purchases of Russian oil if that's a key issue, and bring down the tariffs on Indian goods generally from 25% to something like the Asian norm, which is more like 18, 19%, maybe even 15%. Right. I think that would do wonders for the India-US relationship.
I think he's right. 100%. I agree. Let's go back to the Bitcoin chart. Cool, Playa, what's up, man? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Yeah, Crow's still melting faces, eh? It's on the move, man. It's on the move. All right, so Bitcoin. Still doing Bitcoin things. Still hanging out at 108,700. Get your dry powder ready, guys. We're going to close this monthly candle tomorrow. If we close below $114,000, which is way up here, I'll put in a different colored line, okay? For 114,000 for you guys. That is right about there. Now we'll make it. What color do you guys want to make it? Let's make it orange. That orange line, okay? If Bitcoin does not close above that orange line, it's going further down, potentially down to 104. And if 104 doesn't hold, 98. So strap in, strap on, get your dry powder ready to deploy. And yeah, so listen, I'm going to go rest up a little bit. I'm groggy. I don't feel good, guys. I will be back later, maybe. Anyway, keep an eye out for some content. Jump over to the Patreon, guys. I did just put in a new swing trade over on the swing trade tier today on the Patreon as well. You want to make a little bit of extra opportunity, guys, a little bit of extra dry powder. Jump over, check out our swing trades. Just uploaded a new one today. Get microcap gems. Join the open mic session tonight. We got a community session, community events on weekends. Check that out and so much more, guys. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.